what we are about over here. In fact, the big boss man, we call him the mayor on the mic.
Yes.
Mayor on the mic alisema greetings from the mayor mazeuko. The mayor obviously alikutumia salamu.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, salamu back to the mayor on the mic.
Yes, mayor on the mic.
Oh, wonderful. You know, you and I have worked together.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I post something, somebody says, you know, you should have Kisiangani, you do one podcast. And I think one of the things people don't understand is that we are the chemistry of friendship. They normally, I think a lot of people assume that to meet up or where we used to be and just started talking. They don't know that there was a whole maybe 16 years of friendship before that.
Tulikuwa mabeste yake yote. Maybe that's what it takes to be a co-host. Mkuwe mabeste kwanza for 16 years. Maybe HR guys should ongeza that on their list. Check it. How long have you been friends? No, 2 years is too little.
Yeah, but because when you're friends with somebody, you understand their idiosyncrasies and their quirks and the things that could flip them. So you avoid those things and then you just sort of mnaelewana.
But I was before you walked in, I was musing over here and I was telling the very honorable msikilizaji. I was telling them the way being a friend is actually hard work.
It is.
This month I'm turning 44.
You guys,
in 15 days.
You're going to be 60 in the next few years.
In 26 years, is it? In 26 years I'll be 70.
26 years you'll be 70. In 16 years you'll be 50. In 6 years you'll be 50.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
You guys, that's crazy.
One political term for Bwana Ruto.
If at all Rudi.
Rudi unaingia finji.
Yeah, maze. So you guys. So I was telling them the way like being a friend is because I was telling them the way you're coming through and we've been friends for many years, but I was also saying that ukitaka kuwa rafiki ya mtu, it's actually a commitment because I remember there's another buddy of mine, you know him, alikuwa anaitwa Stivolius Bicoliatus. So this guy, there was once I had my car broke down huko in Kimende. So I had to call Stivolius Bicoliatus na kaendesha gari paka Kimende.
Oh, he came all the way to Kimende.
Yeah, kuvuta gari. So as in, I'm just saying that to say it's not easy being a friend,
but it isn't easy being a friend. And to use the example you've given about Kimende, I think sometimes we want the entire qualities of good friendships from the onset. You know, we become very impatient. Our generation is very instant. I think it's because of these X and Instagram and Reels on TikTok. So we think that just because we are gelling right now, we will always gel. And I think the benefit of our friendship, even the longevity we've shared, has not been devoid of challenges.
Yeah.
I think there are times you and I didn't talk for many years.
Yeah. The time tunalengananga for a couple of years. Check isiongeleshi you boys, because amenibo sana. And then you move along till the next time.
So I think I agree with you that it requires intentionality. And it also requires a process and a time. I think, was it today or maybe a few days ago, I was talking to you about how difficult it is to sort of meet people in a meaningful relationship, not only in a friendship, but also romantic relationships. Because people are people, and you have to sort of find synergy, and that takes time. So before you find synergy, you will have a billion things to break up, and a billion things to stop the friendship, and a billion other things to stop talking to them. So I think time is the truth teller. When you stay the course of time and you don't leave, then the friendship has a promise. But if you leave, then the friendship dies. I guess I'm just trying to make the case of don't expect bliss in the first year or 2 or 3 of friendship. You have to stay there.
Even for male friendships.
I think so.
I don't think guys really kosana during the first 2 years.
And even if it doesn't happen in the first 2 years, it will happen.
Oh, okay.
But whenever it happens, you have to extend grace. You have to extend grace so that you enjoy these are the things that people love about long friendships.
Yeah. In fact, I was telling a friend of mine today still. I was hanging out with a friend of mine and anaitwa Ndota. We do a podcast together. So I was telling Ndota the way kitambo I was a very terrible friend. In fact, I spoke about you. So I was telling her the way kitambo before you lose a loved one, you don't sometimes you don't empathize with the other person going through loss.
Yes.
So you'll be like, your mother has passed on. Pole.
Yeah.
And then you move on with your life. So I was telling her the way kitambo I was very punkish.
Yes.
Like before I lost my dad, he was the first person who passed on. I never used to really be a good friend to you and also to many other guys who lost people.
Yes.
So they'd lose people. Me, I'd be far away. I'd be escapist.
Yeah.
So I know this guy is pitying and I don't want to be in that uncomfortable space. So I just maybe tell you Pole, but never show up for any of the meetings. I don't show up for the funeral.
Yeah.
So I think part of that being a friend is huyu mtu akipitia, whether you have, and my excuse at that time was siko na heavy money ya kuangusha.
Yes.
Nikikuja kwa meeting.
Yeah.
Check it. Mimi nimekuja na 80,000. Like I didn't have that.
Yes.
So I just came, I just heppered and ran away, which was a horrible thing. And I also apologize again. But I think looking back, a friend, even if you have no dollar bills or that thing that you feel like you need to have when somebody is going through a rough patch, your presence also just matters. You can just show up.
In Christianese, we call it the ministry of presence, where a lot of people assume wrongly that if somebody is going through, sometimes it's not even death, it can be something as debilitating as an accident, or maybe a miscarriage, God forbid, or maybe a miscarriage is death, obviously, or something like a loss of a job. You've lost your work. You realize how your phone calls all of a sudden disappear once you go through such dips. And I think friendships are best enhanced when there is need. Not so much that you ought to meet that need, but crying with people and being present with them and participating in a meaningful way, sometimes just lending an ear. I think those things make deeper deposits in the friendship, in the state of being very peripheral and saying, nilisikia pole, lakini Mungu atatenda. Atatenda ukiwa wapi? You see? So it's called the ministry of presence, and there's need for you being more present and really feeling people's pain, and not these glib testimonials people give when somebody dies, like I feel your pain. Not those ones. Those ones are useless. But just, people can almost energetically sense your spirit if you're genuine. Okay? If you invite me here and I came with a very rugged t-shirt that huyu jamaa vagi hivi. So you see, I'm passing a very serious statement that nakudharau. Nadharau ikazi. But if I keep time and I press my shirt and I cut my hair and I carry a notebook, I'm communicating respect.
True.
So similarly, friendships require that we are genuine. We could even text and say, I am completely out of pocket. I wish I could do more, but I'm here. And I feel like how I can help, because I have the company car and I'm passing through the route where your kids go to school, I am offering to pick your kids for the next 2 weeks, morning and evening, and drop them here. So people remember those things.
How many friends do you think somebody can truly have as an adult?
It depends. If they are wishy-washy, you can have as much as 1 million. But if they are very intimate and meaningful, there are very few quality people. Very few quality people. Even away from friendship, even in the organizations and workspaces, human family has many deficits. So I would say if you're lucky, you can go through life, if you live to be 80, to have 1 or 2 proper confidants.
Okay.
1 or 2. Friendships, it depends with your definition of friendships. If you're looking at somebody to shoot the breeze with and have a beer, any bar is full now. You'll always find somebody to with in the bar. But if you're looking for someone to discuss how your wife has really, really upset you, and in fact you've not slept, you've been crying for the past 4 nights, then the size will greatly diminish.
Yeah, true.
You might find nobody but you.
What if you tell the barman, you guy?
He has to listen because you're going to tip him.
Check it, bro. But I hear you. But maybe, I think we've discussed this before, like maybe you classify the different people.
Yes.
Because maybe also, I think we've discussed how you can burden somebody with responsibility. I don't know what to call it. You burden someone with responsibility which they can't carry. Like me, I have buddies who nikimpigia sahi nimwambie nitumie thao, hata tuma you guys. Like hajatuma then na hata tuma sahi. So I operate with people according to with that particular friend, because we've been friends for years. I operate with him according to that parameter. Okay, ndio saa zingine I stray and ask and laugh bado ana disappoint and then you get upset. But maybe you classify guys and say this is the inner circle, outer circle, acquaintance, and just workmate, like that.
You're right. There's a lady called I was doing a live on Friday on TikTok. I do these lives. We'll talk about that in a minute. Her name is Kingsley Okonkwo or something. She's Nigerian. She's a pastor and she's married to a pastor. And one time she was talking about marriages and relationships, and she said something so profound. She said, when you're dating a woman, before you say I do to this woman, ask 3 questions. Okay, of course, it's, a church conversation and whatnot, but I think we can even bring it to the corporate setup and friendship, platonic friendship setup. She said, ask 3 W's. Number 1, is this woman and this relationship working? But working, simply, you can communicate. You see, you can communicate without any animosity, and the fighting is fair, even if you fight. Is it working? Is this person reliable? Can I trust them in my absentia to make quality decisions when I am not around? Number 2 W, is it worth it? Is this friendship worth it? So of the many years I've been down and I've tried to reach out so that this person helps me, and they've been consistently inconsistent. Can I qualify this as a worthwhile friendship or relationship? And then finally, is it worship to God? So 1, is it working? Is it worth it? And is it worship to God? Worship is not hallelujah, tuimbe. Most people think singing is worship. Worship is obedience. So how I relate with this person, does it enhance what God says I should do and they should do? So for instance, if we are pounding each other like yams and she's married, it's not worship because she's somebody's wife.
All right.
You see, now it's not working. And if we are stealing with them and they give me my cut on time, it's not worship because we are breaking what God would want. And we will be caught and we will be ramrodded in prison. So again, it's not going to work in the long run. So I think those are 3 perimeters we can look at. So if we are lucky and blessed to have a friend where we jibe, things go well most of the time, they are sensible. When we are in error or they're in error, they have the sense of mind to be accountable and to apologize, then we can tick the first column. This thing is working. And then if over time your mom died, my mom died, they were present in a meaningful way. I remember when you lost your sister recently, one of your sisters told me, I was wondering where you are. And I said, that's an interesting statement. It made me feel a bit fuzzy in my heart because as your sister, she's, I know her by proxy. She had the expectation that I ought to be there. So then if they are present in a meaningful way in our pits and in our highs and in our lows, and it's also important that people observe if people are happy for us. Sometimes because of poverty, we just want people to come and cry in our funerals. But what happens if your friend who you love for a long time, who you were unemployed with for a long time, gets the job done? And then now you are really upset with them, you block them. That is also, they've gone ahead of you and now you're upset. So now it's also not working. Because if I'm to do better than you and you get an attitude, chances are unaweza niwekea sumu kwa chakula, And then finally, as I said, if it's worship to God. So classify along those and then see what you give yourself time. Am I giving time to something that is dead on arrival? Or will I then invest my time in something else that is more profound? I don't believe in kicking a dead horse because it makes the weight up the hill harder. So you'd rather say, you've been very intermittent in our friendship. You don't even have to have the conversation with them. But I'm not going to give my proximity in terms of access to you. I'm not going to give my energy to you. And I'm also not going to give this time. So you slowly backtrack and in the state of meeting them to hang out so that they disappoint you again, you can maybe read a book or go for a run or go to the gym.
Or just stare at paint drying.
Yeah, because the paint would be loyal. At least you'll find it when you come back home.
Yeah, man. No, that's dope stuff. So you've recently, there's this brilliant podcast. It's looking very nice and clean.
Does it?
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good, man. It's called the Ask Erick podcast.
Yes.
You've had 2 versions of it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe tell us about the previous version and the new upgraded one.
When I used to work in radio, I left radio. We were just discussing off air. When I was deeply hurt, I didn't know I was hurt because I was hurt, and only recently when I realized that the love for what I love to do, which is having conversations with people and helping them in a meaningful, impactful way, came back to me. I used to see a studio, a microphone, and I'd get really agitated. I think when we left, you tried to invite me in a space you are in, and I would vehemently refuse.
Yeah, I think I told you, let's start a podcast.
Yeah.
Check niaje, so we start a podcast. Check you guy! You really gave me a lecture for 15 minutes on why we should not do any podcast.
So something happened. So we left where we used to be, and a bunch of fans who used to listen started DMing me and saying, it would be nice if you just did a little something.
Mm-hmm.
And these were the COVID times. And COVID were big years because they were listening years.
Okay.
People were mostly at home. So with my phone camera...
No, that was post-COVID.
That was post-COVID.
See, during COVID, tulikuwa pale.
But slowly, things were slowly opening up.
Okay.
They had not fully opened up. Huh? See, that is 2021.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, 2021,
yeah.
Things had not... I think things sort of started being normal in 2022.
Okay.
So in 2021, I started just with my phone and my phone camera, and I would do a show I called Erick Stories.
Uh-huh.
So Erick Stories was just random conversations about, my thoughts about relationships, dating and sex and yada, yada, yada. And as things started opening up, I think the restrictions were getting lifted. My friends of Erick suggested, why don't we do a meetup? Because we've been online friends for a very long time.
Oh, you had chapered your show continuously?
Garissa for like 2 years.
You did it for 2 years?
Yeah.
Was it daily or just weeknights?
And I used to do daily and then lives on Friday.
Oh, okay.
No, your dedication.
Yeah, that's heavy.
I used to do Monday, Tuesday, all the way to Thursday. And then on Friday, I do a live for like 3 hours. And so when the restrictions were lifted, we did the first meetup and a bunch of women came. The second meetup, the third meetup, and I decided to fold so that I can think through it properly. And so I thought about it. I was off air for maybe a year.
Your folding is quite long.
Yeah.
Check, actually folding it for long. But I guess it just snowballed into a year.
Yeah. I just snowballed. Well, I was very intentional about trying to figure it out. But I think I also thought too long. I was just like, what do I want to do with this stuff? And so I started Ask Erick. So Ask Erick is a platform where if you have a question that you feel is a bit daunting on your part, something that is quite debilitating around issues and matters of the heart, then you shoot me a text. I normally have a number that I share out, and I'm also on social media at ERIQ Stories.
Yeah.
On TikTok and on Instagram. So people send me questions, some people send me voice notes. And so on Friday night, I do a live from 8 o'clock to about 10:30, 11. But every Wednesday, we air on YouTube, we're on Spotify, and of course, Instagram Reels and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
No, it looks really good. The quality is good, and also the quality of the conversations you have there, the things that you talk about.
Yeah.
But you've been doing this for a minute. What do you think the state of the dating is in the country right now? Like, just top of your head, you guys.
That's a heavy question. Again, I would go back to what I'd said earlier. We want things that are ready. The people don't want to put in any work. We are more fixated about what is already made, And then there's the danger where people show us their highlights. Again, thanks to social media, they show us their edited highlights. And so a typical woman in Nairobi or Eldoret, or whichever armpit of the world they're listening from, is thinking of an ideal guy. And the same is true of a guy. A guy is thinking a woman will come home, cook for me, tie her hair, make me sweat from intense activities at night. And then we will eat, and then we go for a jog, and then she'll give me money to fix my tires. And then also help me around in paying rent. And then birth my babies, and we live forever, ever. ever after.
Amen.
And life is not like that. I mean, one of the things you realize with aging is that there are so many highs and so many lows. Life sometimes is inside out and upside down. And I think we need to have a real conversation around expectations vis-a-vis reality. Okay? Mm-hmm. And the idea to do life and love is not what Hollywood has sort of conscripted so that we aspire for. Because Hollywood is very big on, you walking down yonder in the beautiful sunset and getting married and having babies. But people will snore and they have warts in the morning, and people have dragon breath when they wake up, and women have menses, and men have EDs, and some men are balding, and some men are out of work for years. Nobody talks about that. And people give birth to children who have, some sort of spectrum that need special care. That doesn't quite fall under the romantic cadre. So everybody's just doing chocolates and going to Lamu and flying to South Africa and going to Wanderlasting. But the real reality of life is often shunned to the back. So I think if we really interrogated our thinking around what a committed relationship looks like and what is expected of us, then we may rethink our decision to elope and quickly jump into these arrangements that we are calling marriages.
When I was living with my wife, she used to say that I snore a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
Did she ever record you?
Yeah. In fact, there's a point at which May used to think I don't snore. So I used to really kemer her with vehemence. Jackie, what do you mean? May don't snore?
Yeah.
So another day I was perpetrating mad snores and she recorded. So she used to say she choke us because I would fall asleep really fast.
Oh, really?
And then sasa mimi nikilala naanza kusnore alafu sasa yeye zilala. Because mimi nampiga na snores zingine deepest.
Yeah, I think the other thing, I've never been married, so I don't know. But one of the things I realize with people I'm intimate with, I've either friends or especially people of the opposite sex, is that a good woman can really hold a mirror to you and you can see your malevolence. You see all of your shortcomings. I think that's one of the...
not see malevolence?
No, I know. I'm not...
You're involuntary.
I'm just saying, they'll hold a mirror so you see your idiosyncrasies, your foolishness, your laziness, your delays.
Yeah, true, yeah. Even your financial propriety.
Yes. So I think that's one of the things I'm learning now. And I think God in his favor and wisdom decided to pair men and women, because the man will hold a mirror to the woman and the woman will hold a mirror to the man. And if you're being very honest and if you don't scream at the mirror and start saying, mbona hapo kwa mirror iko na matongolo, and you just are graceful to remove it, then you can be better for it. Because somebody who spends a great deal of time with you can tell a lot about you, more than people who see you on social media. So I think there is hope for the tree. There is hope for the tree, but I think I don't hear a lot of conversations and discourse around the need for work. I hear a lot of people bastardizing marriage and relationships, and yet we belong to one another and we need one another.
There's someone who said marriage ni amafala.
I saw that. Yeah. I'm not married, so I can't attest to their testament, but I know that everything requires work. Everything requires work. Before you harvest, you have to put in a seed. And we want to seed things we do not want to harvest, which is funny.
I think the formula maybe speaking for myself, this is my own theory. The formula we're following is not the formula that's running currently. Because we grow up, say, if I use my family as an example, my dad had this wife called Mrs. Sarah Wanjala, okay, among others, but for this case study, wacha tuangalie huyu Sarah Wanjala. So Sarah Wanjala was a secretary. Then my dad is a professor in literature, a very big guy hapo Campo. So I remember he'd come home and Mrs. Sarah Wanjala, in fact she used to call herself Sarah Christopher Wanjala.
Your dad's first name.
Yeah, man.
I think I saw her, she used to call herself Sarah Christopher Locorito.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. She called herself, her first name, your dad's two names, then.
Yeah, man. So you see the mind of this individual. Amechukua jina huyu mtu kabisa, then moved in together, they're married, they have children, and then there's a way she's treating the man. You know, there's a way when he comes home. I never ever saw my dad in the kitchen. Okay, once in a while when my mom was not there at lunchtime, you'd hear him sighing. Cheki, hey, because he's not used to that situation where she's not there to hook him up with his dinner, his lunch and stuff like that. So, and then in the morning, I remember we didn't have an instant shower and the heater was not working. So she'd make sure ameenda kwa, heat some water, put it in a bucket, take it to the bathroom, put in the towel and go and call him. Check it, Papa Pepe, your water is ready. So the guy chomokas like a king and enters the bathroom, showers, goes, changes. Then by the time he's leaving the bedroom to go to the living room, the dining room, the food is there ready for him. You get? So if you grow up looking at that and the current way people are relating right now you won't get that stuff. There's no one who's going to serve you on that level. If at all that was your expectation.
Of course.
So I think the, what is it called? The cognitive dissonance, I think.
Yes.
So you expected this, but now we are living in a new reality. The people who are even in the West are living in a deeper difference than what we have here. Here we have a modicum of what we had in the past. So if you come with that formula of this is how I'll relate with a female in 2025, I think utaingia mtaro moja deep.
I read an article, you're right, the article was saying something that we need to think about. So, and I've had a conversation with a lady friend of mine, Valentine Joroge, and she was telling me how they were once having lunch with a bunch of women, and one older lady, a golden girl, came up and said, are you guys married? And then they invited her to join them, and then they said, did you raise a son for us?
Oh, they asked the
older lady.
Okay.
Did you raise your son for a wife the way we were raised for a husband? So I feel like one of the biggest difference I see is that a lot of women were prepared to be women and wives and ladies, and most men did not get into that class of preparation at all. And so
you think the chicks were prepared?
Yeah. Look at your sisters. Look at my sisters.
Do you think that's the norm?
No, not in every. Of course, there are parents who didn't do a spectacular job. But I've heard in many families where a girl is sitting and told, a girl is not supposed to sit like that. Like, cross your legs, sit properly. You can't go to town like that. Who will marry you when you did it like that? Okay. How come you can't serve? A woman should have, the poets like Dr. Maya Angelou would say, have a black dress, have different sets of cutlery and plates, have a nice pot, have a pan. Nobody tells a woman nothing, a man nothing. Men are just told to go to school, work hard, and have money. Just to support your point, my mother was very hard on my two sisters, but the guys were growing like weeds. So look at your brothers and compare your brothers to your sisters. There's a big mismatch. So there is. So would you say that those men were being prepared for these women who are your sisters? The answer is no. But then now women have gotten to a place of thinking, this is not working. It is not worth it. And it's definitely not worship to God. And then they're outing. I believe strongly, to synthesize, so we don't take a lot of time on this. There are two things in my mind, this is my theory to counter yours, that make a relationship work. One, if the needs are properly understood. For instance, let's just break it down. You said to me, I need you from 8. You sent me a poster, you tagged me, I shared, I need you at 8, and we'll speak until whenever. So you've communicated the need. Now me, I can't call you from Garissa and say, was it today? Because I will disappoint. I'll disappoint you. So when needs are, number one, understood, okay? Properly understood, and that requires communication. Sometimes I was telling you during the day that one of the biggest mistakes we make is talking and assuming communication happened, because that's an error. You just spoke, me, I didn't hear. So,
okay.
Yes, if needs are properly understood and communicated, and then number two, met, most relationships can fare better. But this is the caveat. The same needs we began with will not be the same needs I will have 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years down the road. So that's something worth thinking about. What does she need? And what does he need? And then to add on to that, I don't think olden times were any better, and so we are living in such difficult times.
Yeah, true.
I feel like we've oftentimes confused advancement with progression. We can and vice versa. We can advance into a 5-bedroom house. As a mom, a wife, as a mom, a dad, and wife, husband, with 5 kids. So we live in a palatial home in a 5-bedroom house with all the parking, but we've not progressed as a family. Meaning, we have a bigger space in terms of where we live, but our unity is looser. Because now Jeremy, our firstborn, keeps running out of the house when we are busy in the 5th floor, drinking our whiskey, and he's gone off to do some crazy things in the night, and we never, ever realize. So from an outsider looking in, we look like a nice, tightly neat family that is advanced.
Oh, yeah, true.
But we are not progressed in the ethos that would glue us together as a family. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, there are things that people did in the olden times. I was looking at some footage of American media when, those TV hosts, late night show hosts were crazy. They used to ask female singers crazy questions. Have you seen those guys? They'd be like, hey, who are you dating? Are you wearing any da-da-da?
Oh, okay. No,
that's some shocking stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, of course, patriarchy was so rife then. So there are tons of things we can unlearn from then. And then we better now with what we have. For instance, if a woman is working, you've made her pregnant, maybe she has had postpartum depression, and then she has to come back, and then you do, which means nyama ugali na mboga iletwe. You see, it's insensitive.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Ama ametoka kazi all day.
Yeah.
Yeye ni engineer, amefika kwa nyumba 10:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And then now you're waiting for her to go to the kitchen to cook for you.
It doesn't make any sense. So what we can do then, collaboratively, we could say, okay, what are your needs at this juncture? And then you can say, because of this depression I'm going through, I just want to be left alone. I don't know how long this is going to go for. So you then support them. When they're out of that, her need will change. And maybe you are fired. So what is your need? You need support. You don't want to be called a placenta. Check it. But are you sure you are the child born? Or your mom was given a placenta? Because how can you not have money for this long?
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. We don't want to be bashed when we are down. We want somebody who can sort of lift us up. So I think if a need is understood and effectively met, then a relationship has a chance. But if you don't understand the need and you're not willing to meet it, then it's doomed from the onset.
But also in this era, also the money situation is actually very core. Like it's so hard to survive in any relationship right now. If at all you're broke and you're broke for long, you guy mazee, you think mtaingia shida moja deepest.
Ni ukweli. I mean, money answereth all things. But I also feel like if you have found a partner. The other day I was studying about marriage and a wife. And there's a wonderful scripture as a Christian man that I was ruminating over. It says, houses and land are passed down from parents. But a congenial spouse, one who fits the contours of your needs, is given straight by God. So I feel like people who we've been assigned sort of by grace have the grace for us. It's the same way if I called you in your home area and said, hey, my car's run down. You'd come and sort of help me because of relationship. But if I called a random boda guy, they can start massaging me
true.
By force. You see? And then now we'll have problems on the road.
Yeah.
So I feel like money, again, is a big conversation. It's a tool. It is important, but it is not the most important thing because there are people with big money who are in divorce courts now, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
And there are people who have no money and they're doing their 30th anniversary. So again, the conversation around money is, if I'm going to muzzle and squeeze you because I have money, then, relationships far outweigh real estate. I would rather go to be in the jungle by myself without any money than stay with you with your money and then unaniangamiza.
But previously you mentioned, we had that case study. You were talking about how we used my sisters and said they were trained vizuri.
Yes.
Then most men tulimea kama nyasi.
Yes.
But now that we are men and we are all grown up, I feel like there are very few voices telling these men how to handle it. Like, in fact, the few voices who are there say men go, the Magtao movement, men go their own way.
Yeah.
As in, tumeshindwa na madem.
Wow.
We are poorly equipped in this new era. So tuende tu.
Yeah.
Let's just go and roam around the earth.
Yeah.
So how do we now, because if you're a fully grown 44-year-old guy, you've been living a certain type of way, where do you now unlearn and relearn the skill of now how to live with a woman properly in your leagues?
I think change comes with acceptance. One of the things I admire about women, because I deal with a lot of women, even on my podcast, women love me, and I love them right back. Women are not as drab as us. Women really try to better themselves. 90 out of 100 women smell clean and better than guys. Guys just randomly get into a matatu smelling of the goatest goat, and they're just fine smelling of everything. You know, and if you dare bring it up like, hey, why don't you want to wash your armpits or cut the hair, they're like, unaniambia nini zo? You see what I mean?
Why don't you want to wash your armpits?
Yeah, maze. So the guy is smelling like 200 days ago. And then that guy has the audacity. He brings bravado where expertise is needed. That guy has the guts to hit on a woman and even want to give her babies with his very suffocating armpits. And there's no day he's going to say to himself and say, I smell funny. I smell like 1999. You know what I mean? So I feel like women, because of their associations, they open and then they interact with healthcare more. And women are very, like, they seek counsel. My DM is filled with women asking questions about their relationships. Not a single man. I think in my talking with people, maybe just 4 men have asked me something.
Oh, okay.
So women seek. When I say we are doing a meetup and I'm bringing a gyna, a family lawyer, and a financier, by the way, to help them in their families, 99% of women pay and come. Dudes, they ask me, what do you talk with women, Bana? You just sit with those many women and talk. So, and we saw this change and metamorphosis happen. I think you and I were friends. Around the band of 2000, 2001, 2002, when guys were busy binge drinking in CBD, women were going for evening classes.
Yeah.
You remember when Kibaki had these TVETs?
Yeah, true.
Women were going to all these evening classes. Now, if you look at the disparity, if
those guys were up in their tropez.
Yes, mezzing and gyrating.
Yeah.
Takeu, mama, Mr. Nice, fagilia. You see, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So now, when I look at, say, where I go to work out, 90% are women paying on time and working out. And when you look at the parking at my gym, they're not funny cars, high-end machines. When you look at any social strata in the corporate ladder anywhere in the world, women are faring better. And it's not because of, these, what is this thing called? Not gender parity. What is this thing? Affirmative action. It's not just about affirmative action. It's just that women sort of send the wanajituma. My male counterparts, when we talk about health or speaking publicly or expressing yourself, they come from a place of, hizo ni ufala, bana. Kilami kitu gani, kilami gani. You see the difference? So now, so I feel like, apart from women having been trained, they've gone further and trained themselves. So a man who is interacting with a woman like that needs to sit down with himself and just tell himself the truth. My finances are off. I need help. I drink like a fish and I smell like many fishes. So now, I need to do something because this is horrendous.
I smell like many fishes.
Yeah. Yes. You know the way they say on Alcoholic Anonymous, hi, my name is Gabriel and I am an alcoholic. The reason they make you say that is because until you say it, you will not fix yourself. But if you're saying, no, mi ni mbaya, mi nadumu bana. Uliza huyo Agnes, nilikuwa naye mwisho, siya kuna watu wangu wanne. Nadumu. Nilikuwa namweka 4 hours hata nadumu tu. Is it that nonsensical talk? So I feel that men will not change until they get to a place of accepting and saying, you know what, there is room for improvement. I can do better. I can cut my nails. And women are actually very smart. Also, coming away from these bastardizing somebody because of their sex. Saying things like, ni mwanamke tu. I feel very strongly that women are I know, women are very intuitive where men are insightful. You can, in fact, my mom used to joke about one of my relatives that I wish he even finds a woman then. Like if he can't work, I wish he would just find a woman. And our thinking as I grew older came to the fore. A woman will sort of shape you if you let her. she'll say things like, you know what, Eric, you're very good at X, Y, and Z. I've seen this thing. Why don't you apply for this? And also there's this opportunity, there's funding for this. Why don't you do this and this? But a lot of women have chomekad because Mr. Armpits now gets the money and wants to show her shege by going and then looking for a fellow armpitess. You know? So I just feel like men can come to the realities of their shortcomings and owning up and saying, you know what, I can do better. This is my area of competency and these are my areas of drawbacks. And if I work hard and if I change the trajectory from now until 10 years, then I can compete in the dating pool and in the market pool and in anything that is substantial. But we don't do that. We want people who regurgitate our belief system, people who cheer us on. A bunch of guys who will support your foolishness and so on and so forth. But I think there's a lot we can learn from women.
Yeah, true. No, that's dope stuff. Elsie Chebet says, locked in, your synergy and humor is up there. Huko juu karibu na heaven. Msikia wenye Elsie Chebet anasema?
Chebet ni Chebet.
Chebet mazee amekam through na comment moja.
Asante Chebet.
Shaya Victor says, yo, Eric and Manu, the rebel gang from Adults in the Room. Okay, I may mention your place again. Shout out to you, Shayo. Viharaka says, missed you guys, welcome back. Judge Raphael says, dope show Kamakawa. My text says, been wondering why you guys disappeared to after that place. Those talks really came through for us during those COVID times.
Yeah.
You guys, ilikuwa hiyo time ya COVID tulikuwa huko hivyo you guys?
Yes. I know. I think we left that place in 2021
I think
March.
It died down kiasi.
Yeah, 2021 in March.
Yes. David Julia says, following from Molem Heights, pass my greetings to Eriko. Umepokea salamu?
Nimepokea.
George Ngugi says pheromones. I think he's talking about watu wenye unaongea maneno ya sweat.
All right.
George Ngugi is also asking, but why should men be getting guidance from strangers? Perhaps emphasis should be to have charity beginning at home. I think he's talking about that training the guy in the digs first. My Take 2.0 says, true that. I agree, Eric, on that department. Women really try. So I tell you what, me, I'm deducing for what you've said about men.
Yes.
Like taking stock would mean just taking some time off to improve yourself. I don't know how long the off would look like, but you have to withdraw a little from the dating pool. If at all you're not yet deep in it. If you're in, maybe you can improve yourself while in it. But before, you can withdraw, take stock, outline some of the issues in your life and start working on them. So that if you meet a woman and akupata ukiendelea, instead of continuing in the wrong direction.
Yeah. I think fairly recently we were talking about how it's not wrong to find yourself on the wrong road, going to the wrong direction. What is wrong is continuing on that path. And just, I think I struggled. Any change that has been positive that I made had to come from me. The other option is waiting until you must, because now they are trying to cut your liver, okay? Or cut your leg, or cut your neck. So I think it's prudent to get to a place where you can tell yourself the truth. And I think part of why we like noise again in our society today is because the noise entertains what is very permanent, what has been your sort of modus operandi. But if you should be quiet with yourself and say, to be honest, even the relationships that have failed, just ask yourself, fine, I've said that Rhoda was funny, I've said that she was uncommunicative, I've said all the things that I've said, but what was my contribution to the failure? How did I show up? And I think it's important to have friends who also tell you the truth as a fellow man, because men are validated by men. So if you can maybe listen to people who tell you the truth. I don't know how you can suss that out and find out for yourself. That can go a long way, because I find a lot of male conversations are sort of in an echo chamber. So you want somebody to echo your folly and the things that you're doing, But if you just sat down and you say to yourself, who in my corner can tell me the truth? Then they can tell you, Bana, this drinking is excessive. Or, there's a way when you get money, you go berserk. Or, I heard you speak to your wife the other day, but I think you're a bit rude and harsh. Maybe you want to work on that. Or, maybe you should tone down on this cannabis. You're going so hard. When I met you, you're doing 2 sticks. Now you're on your 9th every day. and now you won't get an attitude. So I think that should help. But if you become ostrigic and you take your head and you bury it in the sand, then I think very little change is going to happen.
Yeah. So why do you think them ladies are really, keen on your podcast specifically? Because you have a lot of influence in that scope.
If you follow my podcast and you're a lady, maybe you can share with Emmanuel on the pages. But I think I've never deduced properly, but I would think maybe a lot of women have heard men groan or shout or bark, but rarely do women hear men talk. And so maybe one of the things I can glean in is they possibly identify with a talking man who might be sensible. I like to think myself as fairly sensible. So maybe they hope that can be sort of regularized, where men are able to express themselves without barking or shouting.
Do you feel like you need also men to jump onto this thing? Like, the way you can have a certain audience and then you wish you had that audience?
Yeah.
Like there's a certain podcast I do, and so when you look at the analytics, 90% ni wanaume. So you start asking yourself, hey man, how do I get dada pia waingie kitu? So is it better just to focus on the area where you're doing best at?
I think so. I think we are called for different people. We are not called. You remember the way the Bible boasts that Peter was called for the Gentiles and Paul was called for the Jew. No, Paul was called for the Jew and Peter for the Gentiles. So I think we have a demographic that we are called to. Even this station is called to a particular person. So we cannot be shepherds of all flocks. Mi natembezega kondom, mbuzi, paka, kitu yoyote. You can only you can't shepherd everything. So I think there is need for curiosity from the men folk. Just because,
in whatever area, so long as you're improving.
We don't know everything. I try to bother myself, because even I have some stubbornness, so I try to bother myself to really hear the female perspective, to hear the male perspective, to hear a scientist perspective, to hear an atheist perspective, to hear a Christian perspective and a Buddhist perspective, and so that you're not linear in your thinking. I find that when you're so decided on being linear, then you don't grow.
Shaz is around, Erick, and I love this. Erick, right. So good to listen to you and Manu once again. Your analogies are hilarious as ever.
Thank you, Shaz.
My take is back. He says, you dare try give a man advice, he'll tell you, wachana na mimi, I know what I'm doing.
It's a shame.
There's a cartoon where there's this guy driving his car, looking very upset.
Yeah.
And then there's this lady with a map. It's like they're going on a road trip. So she has a map, and she's telling somebody behind them, why can't you just tell dad to ask me where I'm going? To ask me where we are going.
Yes.
But this guy is set on, me I know the direction. But we are on a map, lakini jamaa amekataa kuuliza.
The proverbial a woman is your helper. If you just hearken to that help, just say nisaidie. And of course, now you, my take, if you ask to help, don't start saying, you remember the way you're frustrated and I helped you? You don't know the routes. Hey, you are poor with driving. Hey, you are poor. Even parking, you struggled. Because you see, now that will make him never ever ask for help. But I think we belong together. I don't like this narrative where it is men are this and women are this and women are that and men are this. We all need one another.
And there's a lot of that lately, especially on the internet.
Yeah, there's a lot of when you're a single mother, you're this. When you're what, the internet is peeing a lot of bad things. So somebody has to take it with a lot of caution. Yeah. Because real life is not like that. Real life I know a bunch of single mothers getting married. I know a bunch of divorced people who are getting remarried. I know a bunch of people who have worked on their marriages, So there's a lot of doom and gloom online. And if you live in that, the internet sphere, you might find yourself really depressed and oppressed.
Yeah, true. And you might make some wrong decisions. But Erick, I'm going to give you some time at least to kunywa maji. Ulipewa maji?
Niko na kahawa yangu nilibeba.
So ulikataa maji yetu?
Nitakunywa yenu.
Kuna maji serious sana ya wageni. Iko branded, imeandikwa Radio Generation. So we'll get you that water. Right. So let's have Erick get some water. We're going to move the stream from YouTube to X. We're going to have Erick have some water. But shout out to everyone who's been listening to us on YouTube. We have kind of a number of guys watching on YouTube, Erick. And shout out to all of them. Please don't leave. Just jump over to X. We're going to continue the stream there. Hang out with Erick, Omondi, Oduor. Don't touch that dial. We still have him around. We'll be back.
It's 9 o'clock.